All right. I think I'm streaming, but I'm realizing now like I'm waiting for. Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me. If you can't hear me, say something in the chat. I'm still kind of somewhat setting up, but the setup is always a good thing to see too. The computer's so far away. I'm never going to be able to read all these messages. Great. Miss Angela says she can hear me. Thank you, Miss Angela. So I'm gonna start without telling you what's going on. I'm gonna start a couple of things in the die, so by the end of the video, we'll have something to take out and look at. So let me whip one of these guys up real fast. Let's see what size this need to be. A little tiny size. All right. Alexa, set a 20-minute turmeric 2 timer.
Setting timer, 20 minutes, starting now.
Alexa is going to be a big part of this process because I have like 5 different bowls going on. You probably will just be able to use your phone, so Alexa's going to be interrupting us because I'm going to have to watch all the different pieces going on, and I need free hands. So, hi, let's get started. We're going to start with our easiest kind of short and sweet method first, and then we'll go all the way up, and as we're going, I'll kind of direct you guys to all the tools I have set up. So our first method is going to be with liquid watercolor. I have some Blick Kids Liquid Watercolor. It's washable. It's really, mine is really sticky and thick. Everyone's watercolor is going to be different, and everyone's fabric is going to be different. So check your bottle, see if it says washable. Unless you don't want it to be washable, then go for it. So this one will be super fast. So we're going to start. I have my soaking cup over here. That's what this one is. It's just clean water, and I put all my fabrics in it so that they're already wet. And when they're already wet, they soak up that ink much more quickly. So I'm going to pull it out of the water, and then I'm going to stretch it out to get some of those wrinkles out of it. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Now I'm laying it out. And we can use any really kind of folding method we want. A lot of people do like tie-dye style where they do twists in it, and then they'll put rubber bands around it to get squished up. But we're going to try something called shibori. And shibori is a Japanese style of dyeing fabric where they use a lot of folds. And those folds make really, really nice, crisp edges on everything. And it's just a new way of fabric dyeing. If you don't want to use shibori folds and you just want to crinkle up your fabric in any way you like, you're welcome to do that. All the power to you. So the first thing I did, I'm not sure if you can see it. I'm realizing now, y'all are not going to be able to see a lot of these folds. The first thing I did was I just accordion folded my fabric. And you can use, shibori usually involves these pieces that we're going to use to bind our fabric to hold it together. So I made mine out of things like egg cartons and plastic lids to containers. Like this was for Daisy Sour Cream one day a long time ago. And I used pie tins because I'm reusing mine again and again and again. If you're only going to use it once, you can make it out of cardboard. Cardboard actually works really well. I did use cardboard for the first couple of them because I was doing so many, I kept having to recut the cardboard pieces because they got soggy. So I switched over to egg cartons. So I fan folded it one way, and I'm fan folding it the other way. And the reason we use fan folds is because we actually want the least amount of fabric to be inside our folds and the most amount of fabric to be outside of them. So I have my folded square fabric, and I'm putting the egg carton pieces. So I make a little sandwich. Can y'all see that? I feel like it's so far. A little sandwich. So once I have my little fabric sandwich, I'll take my rubber bands and now I'm going to wrap my sandwich up like a present. One, two, three. One, two, three. And I'm going to come around the table so you guys can see this. See? So I folded up all my fabric really tight, and then I put one piece of egg carton on the other, on one side, and then another piece on the other, and then I wrapped it up with rubber bands. So our ink is going to get into all of these edges, but it's not going to get on the flat sides of our fabric. So that's why we did the accordion folds, because we want as many edges visible as possible so we can get more patterning. So the watercolor one is really fast. It's only 2 minutes, which is why I'm doing the whole thing for you guys right here. I have my little cup of watercolor. It's non-diluted. I didn't put any water in it. It's just watercolor straight out of the bottle. So I have my fabric square. I have my watercolor. And I'm just going to go bloop. And then I'm going to ask our robot assistant for 2 minutes on the clock. Alexa, set a 2-minute blue timer.
Blue timer, 2 minutes, starting
I
now.
have to label them all, otherwise she'll just start yelling at me and I have no idea what she's yelling at me about. So when that comes out, we'll take the rubber bands off and we'll open it up. And we'll wait and see how that goes in a second. I'm gonna set this aside. Okay. Let's see. That's not gonna be for long, but in the meantime, how about we get our next one set up already, just so it's already ready. This is just a bucket of water that I squeeze the fabric over. Get some of that moisture out of it. So let's see, we did an accordion fold last time. Let's maybe do something different this time. We'll do some little of what I call smooches. There's probably a word for them. I should probably have looked up the word, but I call them smooches. So I start by folding my fabric in half, and then I'm going to fold it in half again, hot dog style, so that it's a skinny little rectangle. And now I'm going to take 3 rubber bands. Really depends on how long your fabric is, how many rubber bands you have. But I'm going to take my rectangle, I'm going to take the middle, and I'm going to kind of shoop it like a little ghost, and put a rubber band around that fold, the middle of the ghost head, if you will. Boop. So now I'm going to open my rectangle up again, but I can't because there's a little ghost head in it. But now I'm going to do another littler ghost head. Guess this is his arms. Oh my goodness, it is his little arms. Little ghost arms. So maybe these aren't smooches, maybe these are ghosts. But the end looks like a smooch.
Your blue timer is done.
Alexa, stop. We'll let that one go for a little bit longer so I can finish up this fold. So I did one side, and now I'm going to do the other side. And I'll come around the table so you guys can see this one up close too. When in doubt, leave your fabric in for longer. Don't take it out early. Just let it sit in there. Letting it sit in there is good. Okay, so I have my little ghost. So I folded my fabric in half, and I made 3 little pieces, choop, 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 in the rubber bands, my little ghosty. And we're going to drop our little ghosty into a turmeric bath. Turmeric is like a spice. I probably should have looked up more about what turmeric is. I got this container at Costco. Doesn't usually come in the size. Super awesome. I like the smell of turmeric. It smells like earthy and good, but I've heard that a lot of people do not like the smell of turmeric, especially when you heat it in boiling water. This one is cold, This is just clean, like plain water and 2 scoops of turmeric, and I put some vinegar in there. And the vinegar is there to brighten up the colors a little bit and to make them stay a little bit longer. Turmeric is known for staining pretty much everything, and that includes like kitchen tools. Most people, when they cook with turmeric, they don't cook with a lot of it. We're using quite a lot of it. So I've been using chopsticks, like restaurant chopsticks, to do all my stirring with. And I'm using glass because it doesn't stain the glass quite so much. So I'll drop our little ghosty in, and we'll set a turmeric 3 timer for, well, really she should sit in there for about 20 minutes. But we'll pull the other one I have hidden in here out sooner than that. Alexa, set a 25-minute turmeric 3 timer.
Third time, 25 minutes, starting now.
I don't know why I give her 3 like she can see me. Okay. So we're pulling out our blue fellow. When we pull out our blue fellow, I almost want to put gloves on just because I have to touch everything else after this. The paint is going to get everywhere. So the first thing we're going to do is just set them down outside the container. And I'm going to do this away from everything else I have, because as I start removing the rubber bands, this paint is going to splash everywhere, and I got other stuff going on. I don't want blue paint everywhere. Sound effects required. So I'm going to be really slow with these rubber bands just because I don't want them to snap and splat that paint everywhere. And I have a little cup right over here specifically for blue rubber bands and blue egg card pieces. Alexa, why are you going off?
I don't know that.
Alexa, stop. Good sign, good sign. The robots are definitely beating me today, guys. Okay, so I'm going to take one egg carton off. I'm going to take the other egg carton off, and I'm going to put that right on my trash bag just for a second. I'm going to set that without touching it. I'm only touching the edges for now because my hands are very blue. And if I touch the white side of the fabric right now, I will mess up our really nice grid pattern. So I'm drying my hands off first, and I'm using some sanitizing wipes. Good use of my sanitizing products on my fingers, so I know that I won't get blue everywhere else before I open up my little package. So once I think my hands are mostly not blue, they're still going to be blue. Mostly not blue. Then I can start opening up my package. So before, I was only touching the blue edges because I had blue hands. Now I'm going to try to only touch the white middle. And I'm going to come around and do this in front of you guys because it's too cool not to see. So I grabbed it by a white edge, and I'm just going to start shaking her open real slow and steady. The watercolor is so impermanent that it really does smear pretty much everywhere right away. So we're trying not to disturb it right now so we get to see our pattern. All the other ones will involve a wash after we take them out. This one you don't want to wash. You can. It will. I'll show you in a second the one that I washed. How you doing, guys? Oh, I can finally read your chats. Ta-da! Look at that. How cool is that? Isn't that so nice? Traditionally, shibori is done with indigo ink. It's done with a permanent indigo dye. I looked into buying some. It is not cheap. So we're using blue watercolor to kind of simulate that. So you get this really, really lovely grid pattern when you use our like fan fold sort of folding. I'm going to lay this down. When you do the watercolor one, you're going to want to lay it in the sun and don't touch it until it's pretty dry. Then you'll be able to, if you want to sew something out of it, if you want to hang it like a flag in your window, that's all the fun things you can do with this one. And then once you wash it, its time will have come and it will leave us. This is one. These are 2 that I made yesterday. So this is one that didn't get washed, but just kind of sat in the sun for a long time. And this is the one that got washed. So read your read your watercolor bottle. Make sure that that you know what's going to happen when you get started with it. whether it's gonna wash out or not. So that was our watercolor. I'm gonna close up my blue ink now because it terrifies me. Just being out and threatening. So we're gonna move on to our turmeric. We already started one, our little ghosties in the bath. And I'm gonna fish out the one that I set in there a little while ago. Come on over. So this is another method of, well, really it's the same method that we looked at with the blue ink, where I folded, I folded my fabric into a square. And this one I used some clear plastic stuff that I had. This is my turmeric bath, so that my turmeric doesn't contaminate everything else I'm using. And I just have some, I think this was maybe, I don't know what that used to be, some piece of plastic that I found in the world. So I'm going to take all the pieces off, and I'm going to drop this whole square into my bath for just a second. The cold turmeric bath really leaves your turmeric kind of still ground up, so you'll want to just really gently dust those pieces off. I wonder if we can get to our ghost later, because this was not really the... cold turmeric will leave your fabric with a really gentle yellow color. I'm going to bring it over towards you guys because this one's really light too. So we have the same grid pattern that we had in our indigo dye. I don't know if y'all can see it. My window is so bright. But it's in like a really soft butter yellow. The longer you leave it in there, the more vibrant those colors are going to be. And then when you wash it, it will only fade slightly. But then after you dry it, it'll become heat locked. So these are the ones that I did. I think you might be able to see these a little bit better. These are the ones that I did yesterday of just the cold bath. So this got left in there for like 20 minutes and then got washed. They're prettier in person. You can see them better in person. So that's what these look like. So now we're going to take a look at one of our, what I'm calling a big kid method. We have this, this is a turmeric bath as well. It's also got maybe a tablespoon of turmeric and some vinegar. But I boiled it on the stove, brought it to a boil and let that sit for a little while. And then I put it on this table and then hit start stream. So it was boiling like, I don't even know what time it is right now. It was boiling like 20 minutes ago. So it's very hot. I have one in here. Then let's see if we can leave just for a hot second longer. So we'll do another fold in that time. When we boil the water, the turmeric dissolves. Turmeric doesn't really dissolve. It's kind of, I don't think hydrophobic is the word, but there's a word that is like cinnamon, spices that don't dissolve in water. Someone type it in the chat, someone who knows things. Turmeric doesn't really dissolve, but it does dissolve more, or it breaks down more, it's less clumpy. And if we were to leave this for quite a while, either boiling or kind of just sitting here, it gets to this really lovely, like deep orange, almost clear color. And that is ideal. When you do traditional turmeric dyeing, you leave it on the stove boiling for 3 hours, and then you soak it for an hour and a half. And that's something that the Dream Room has done. And so you can ask your local Dream Roomer more about that and how that process went for them. We discovered as a group that turmeric dye is really sensitive to sunlight. So if you leave it out in the sun for too long, it will totally just fade to white. So those are some lessons we learned. Let's see. So I'm going to fold my fabric into another very thin fan fold, the back and forth fold. And rather than folding it the other way again into a small square, I'm just gonna pepper my guy, my long rectangle, with some clothespins. So now, and I'm gonna alternate them so they go back and forth. These clothespins have words on them because we use them for Dungeons and Dragons as bad guys. Paperclip is the clothespin is the bad guy. For fighting. Put them too close together. Maybe I will leave that bit. See how that looks. Bounce them out. There we go. Okay. And I'll show you how some of these look if we're not able to pull them out of the back within our 30 minutes. This is very hot. Just kind of making sure it's all as submerged as possible in my pretty small bowl. And while that one is sitting for a little bit, we'll do our bleach dye. I'm gonna put on gloves for this one. Bleach is actually, for this one, we call it reverse dye. Because rather than adding color to our fabric, we're gonna be taking that color away. Bleach is not good for you. Alexa, stop. She won't tell me anymore. But I'm guessing it's this one, so I'll take that one out in just a hot second. So rather than adding color, we're taking color away. So I'm using some orange scraps of fabric that I have. All of the fabric that I'm using today is actually former bed sheets. All of it is bed sheets. I bought it at Goodwill in the before time. Should I call it that? That's what it is. I guess I don't need gloves for this part. It's gonna make for it folding hard. I'm wearing gloves for this part. So I'm folding this one into thirds and then into thirds again. Just a simple rectangle one. This one will go pretty fast. I tried this method with like non-chlorine bleach, and it did not work. You definitely need the strong stuff for this, which is unfortunate because the strong stuff is the stuff that our skins and our bodies do not like. If only. These aren't quite the right size. They'll do something interesting. So rather than covering the whole thing, I'm just going to cover like parts of my fabric. I'll show it to you in a second. So I'm covering it with the little pieces of plastic, but I'm letting a lot of that edge show. And then I'm covering it with the rubber bands going the other way. Okay. So this I'm going to drop in my bleach for 5 minutes, and that'll be the last one that we pull out today. And in a second, I'll show you some other stuff that I've made. So this is pure chlorine bleach. I meant to put my gloves back on, but I didn't do that because I'm a bad role model. So I popped that in there, and I found that most things like to float in bleach, so I've collected a few rocks from my garden to kind of set them down. The longer you leave the fabric in the bleach, the lighter your pattern will be, but you also reach a point, at some point, depending on your fabric, where you actually start, like the fabric starts to deteriorate and becomes really hard and like brittle meaning easy to break or damage, and like crispy like a chip in a bad way. So I'm going to do a 5-minute soak on this one. I've done up to 10-15 minutes, and after the 15-minute part for my fabric that I'm using, it really starts to get gross. Alexa, set a 5-minute bleach dye timer.
Bleach dye timer, 5 minutes, starting now.
She figured it out. Bleach hand, what do? I'm using trash bags to line my table, and I'm also using a rag that is dedicated art rag. So let's go ahead and pull our hot turmeric out. This one I'm going to drop in the bath. I'm going to let that one sit for just a hot second, kind of move it around a little bit. This one we're going to see is much more vibrant than our cold turmeric timer, but it does involve boiling water. So that's a trade-off you have to make for yourself in your in-home studio, what works for you. So our binder clip didn't quite make grids, but it did make sort of like a brick pattern, maybe is a word we would use for it. And because of the way that I folded it, maybe I wasn't very clear about it. I had a part that was mostly on the outside, and then I had a part that was mostly on the inside. So you get sort of an ombre effect. And that's more easy to control with this style of folding. So while our bleach is in the back, I'm going to run you guys through some other patterns I've made. And I'll put more details about all of this in the challenge that I post later today. So this is what, see if we have time to pull them out. This is what our smooch ghost looks like when she's all done. Looks like little smooches. We have triangle folds. And we have binder clips all the way down to rectangles. This one I folded like this and then pinched along with binder clips. So there are tons of different experiments you can conduct with this project. You can find new ways of binding your fabric. You can find new fabrics to dye. You can dye things that are already sewn together, like t-shirts and bags. I also ran a couple of experiments with India ink, like black ink, and had mixed results. So I'd be interested in seeing someone who maybe has a different brand of India ink and wants to take that for a try. I'm going to walk you guys through the last one, which is removing our bleach buddy in a hot second. I wish I knew how long of a second. I'm cheating. I'm trying to peek. For my bleach one, that's the largest bath that I have. It's the largest container I have because I'm really, when I take it out, I'm going to be really trying to dilute the bleach so it doesn't cause problems. I also have 3 different places that I can put bleached things down on. Like I have the lid of the container right here, and I have this lid as well, and those are all just surfaces that bleachy things can go on, like my gloves or the rubber bands or whatever it is I pull out of here. My rock. Feels weird. Alexa, how much time is left on my bleach timer?
You have 50 seconds left on your bleach dye timer.
How was y'all's weekend? To subject change, I just finished judging Miss Steph's jingle contest. Some of y'all did crazy cool jingles. I'm really excited for you guys. You guys totally rocked it. They were really cute. I think Miss Steph is looking forward to announcing the results of that competition soon. This is a really, really great part of my day today was listening to y'all's jingles and being a judge. That was a fun one. Thank you for the opportunity. Alexa, stop. So I'm going to set my rock down on my plastic lid here. I'm going to take my whole little package and drop that into my bath. The bath is this is the most important bath out of all the baths. The turmeric bath is kind of just to dust turmeric off of the fabric, but the bleach bath stops the, like if you pull it out of the bleach solution but leave it on the counter, the bleach will continue to work in that fabric and continue to drain color out and dissolve the fabric. So the bath is super important. I'm setting all of my little pieces down on the fabric, right on the plastic right here. Now I'm really giving her a nice good scrub. Oops, splashing, don't want to splash. I'm opening her all the way up and making sure that she's got a real good rinse on her. Now, even though I did the same fold as I did with our blue squares, because our plastic was a little bit smaller than the sides of our fabric, we got all that really gorgeous bleeding that we see into our sort of white square shapes. Ta-da! This is my favorite one yet, guys. I crushed it. You crushed it. So I'm gonna leave this on a trash bag to dry. I've put my cats away for now because I do not want them licking bleach off the table. So if you have small creatures or small siblings, I would set them aside for this project. So I'm gonna let that one dry, and that one will run through the washer. Before I do anything with it, I'll run it through the washer and dryer and make sure that there's no bleach left on there. Well, I think that was everything I had to talk to you guys about. I hope you enjoyed watching me make a mess in my dining room. I hope you enjoy making messes in your dining room. And I can't wait to see what you guys work on this week and all the rest of the school year. It's been super awesome seeing all of your projects, and I can't wait to see more of them. I don't think I have anything else. Bye, my friends. Thank you so much for watching.